Cheers, Jean.
Hey,
It is
Alison.
Tuesday. Where's your coffee?
Right there.
Cheers to you.
Hold on. There we go.
There we go. Tuesday, June 24th, an NBC 10 coffee break. I'm Alison, of course, joined by Jean. Jean, I'm going to start doing this once I get my act together and get a real microphone from my attic, too, so we can compare all of the stuff that we both collect. But in the meantime, I'm in
New
the newsroom.
mic, new earphones, and a
Sure.
monitor behind me. What we'll also start using.
I'm in the newsroom, though, right now, and it's kind of quiet for the most part. Everybody's talking about the heat. I want to get right out to why is my doctor's office calling me right now? I don't know. I want to get right out to AJ so he's not stuck out there for too long because it's 100, almost 100 degrees. Okay, I did take a break between sunrise and this, and my car was reading 91 degrees. And that was about 15 minutes ago. AJ, does that sound right?
Yeah, it's actually not too far off, Allison.
Okay.
We've officially made it a heat wave here in the Providence area, getting up to 90 degrees at 9 a.m. And I brought the handy dandy thermometer out here. What are we reading right now, folks?
93.6.
93.86. Yeah, it's moving around. Nonetheless, it is very hot out here. So we got this extreme heat warning. This will be continuing these next couple of days here. Today, the last day of the warning, but tomorrow will still be up into the 90s. So the temperature already in the mid 90s. By the end of today, we could be up towards 100 degrees. Now, the record for today, 94. We could be doing that just within the next hour or two. The record for June, that's 98. We could be doing that by the end of the day. We've actually never been above 98 ever in the month of June, and those records go back to 1904. So record heat, this extreme heat warning continuing until 8 p.m. this evening. Heat index values 100 to 110 expected for today. So this is a good bump up by about 5-10 degrees, even from what we had out there for yesterday. Of course, we have all the information you know about the heat on turn10.com, heating centers and things like that. But the main story is for today, just kind of limiting your outdoor time. And if you are outside, plenty of water, finding a way to stay cool, of course, out of the utmost importance. As we head for tomorrow, we do expect to see temperatures climb into the lower 90s, potentially even the heat index values over 95. So potentially another heat advisory, but not as significant as today. And then as we head for Thursday and Friday, looking a lot better out there. And you can't really tell it behind me, but there is a little bit of a haze out here for today as well. The DEM has gone with an air quality alert for our region. That continues through this evening. It's not because of the wildfire smoke this go around. It's actually because of low-level gases. They get trapped when we have hot conditions like what we have out there for today, and lots in the way of some stagnant air. So those people with breathing sensitivities may want to take it easy. Of course, we also be taking it easy with these excessive heat temperatures we are expecting for today. High temperature for today, 100. We're going 92 tomorrow, 70s Friday, as well as heading into the weekend. Unfortunately, a little bit of rain, but even next week, it does look like we'll see those temperatures back into the 80s. So summer heat returning next week, not quite as extreme as the record stuff we got going for today. Of course, Storm Team 10 will be tracking the potential for these records all day long on air, as well as online. So you can find all the information you need to know about the Storm Team 10 weather alert out there.
All right, AJ, thank you. So an historic day, Jean. We are breaking barriers today when it comes to these temperatures. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of gross outside. It's really disgusting, but it is what it is. We want to show you some images too, because it's not just us in Southern New England. I didn't know this, but roads are actually buckling because of the heat, right? The asphalt's picking up. That's from the Midwest, and road crews are out there trying to fix that as best they can. So if you come across roads like that, they're not going to be able to keep up with it in temperatures like this. So go around it. And listen, if you're on a motorcycle, you got to be really careful right now. Did we cover this yesterday? I think we did a little bit, but this continues to persist. Some Amtrak passengers, imagine being on that train in Baltimore.
Yeah.
The heat's coming in. They had to shut everything down, including the AC. I think it was for over an hour. Awful. People telling everybody they felt like they were going to collapse. They were given snack packs, bottled water, and they didn't get off the train until after 5 at night.
I'm getting claustrophobic. Just look, I'd be running up and down. I think I'd say, get me out, but you can't because it was in the tunnel. And not only that, there was another, there was a T line up in Boston, the Franklin line. The MBTI, that got stuck. And then there was the Amazon.
They're pulling back some service today because of that.
Yeah, that got stuck. No air conditioning for a while. And then an Amazon truck caught fire in the Ted Williams tunnel.
Yes.
Can you imagine that? It was a while before the rescuers could get to it, and traffic was going around it in the left lane. It's on fire, burning in the right lane. The traffic
in the tunnel stuck.
You know why? I got to get to the airport. They're driving around it.
Oh
boy.
my gosh.
Yeah.
They did say that there were no packages on board, in case anybody was wondering with that Amazon truck. But yeah, really lousy out there for sure. Amtrak has had so many problems over the last few years. Not on time. A lot of people complain that you could drive quicker. It's over $200 a ticket per person each way.
Can I tell you, Natalie was supposed to come visit me for Father's Day.
Yeah.
Going to get the train to New York. Okay. She went to book the ticket late. Allison, it would have been close to $500 for
Whoa,
her to come
really?
up and go back because she didn't buy it.
That's
She didn't buy it early. She wasn't sure what the schedule was. And I said, no, don't buy the ticket. Spend the money on me for Father's Day. Can you
Send me
imagine?
something.
Send me something. Yeah,
No,
honestly.
I mean, I used to take the train back and forth when I first moved up here, because I was still visiting friends in the city when I moved up here, and I would go back and forth as much as I could. And back then, we're talking 0203, $200+.
It
That's
depends
a
on when you
lot.
book it. Sometimes the girls will come
Yeah,
up
but
and
it's
they'll
still
book
a
it
lot.
ahead. It's $25. It could be
What?
ridiculously cheap. Yeah.
Oh,
It depends on
okay.
when you hit it. Ridiculously
All
cheap
right.
or ridiculously
Then I was
expensive.
doing it wrong.
It's not fast.
It's
It's
slow,
it's
actually,
slow.
with all the
It's a milk run.
stops.
I mean, honestly, if we're going to have trains,
I
let's have
know.
trains like they have in Europe.
I will say it is nice. Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh my
Unbelievable.
gosh. I landed in Rome, got the train to Naples, quick, fast, clean, cool. The
Honestly,
air conditioning worked.
I took a train from Paris to Amsterdam. Okay, you're going through two countries, right? You got a Paris,
Right.
Belgium, and then Amsterdam. Allison, it was like 40 minutes, a fast train.
And
40,
comfortable,
45
right?
minutes. It was
Comfortable.
unbelievable.
Yeah. It's good. I know. We have to deal with that. Look at what it took to get the train station up and running at Pawtucket Central Falls, then out
Well,
New Bedford Fall River. Oh my gosh, decades, right? So we keep talking about wanting more clean energy, more, for the climate and everything. And it's not convenient a
no,
lot of times. So that's a
no.
problem.
It's a
All
very
right. So what are
expensive.
you doing today to stay cool?
Oh,
We should be drinking water, not coffee, by the way.
well, you're right. That's
But
true.
well.
You're right. I should be drinking water, but I've been
Me
drinking
too.
coffee since I got up this morning at
Me
4:30.
too.
So I'm good. I'm alert now. What am I doing? Yeah, I sound like a little kid. Picking up my room, fiddling through my stuff, making sure my
You
house
don't
is,
like the beach. Now, I don't know if people know this, but you really are not a beach person.
I am not a person to
You are
lay on the
not a
sand.
beach person. Nope.
I like
So
to
you're
look
not
at the
going to be
beach.
doing that.
I would like to have a beach house. I would survey the beach and look at the ocean, but I'm not a person to lay on the sand. I'm the opposite of Diane, who could just absolutely lay on the sand
She's
all day
there all
long
day. She
and
loves
then
the
go in the
pool.
water. She loves it, but just not me.
No, what about a
Something must have
pool?
happened
Will
to me
you
as
do
a
it?
kid. I don't know. Something happened to me as a kid
Oh,
on the beach. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, Jersey
I'm
Beach didn't
thinking.
say
I don't
that.
know what it was, but something. I have an aversion. I like to look
Uh,
at it, not lay on it.
yeah, I think I'm going to hit the pool today for a little bit of time in
Mm.
between jobs. So we will see. But yeah, I'm wondering if the beaches will be packed. Of course, schools are out right now. A lot of people were complaining in Providence Public Schools yesterday. I know you touched on this on the radio yesterday
Yeah.
because I heard you. It's, the buildings don't have AC, most of them in Providence. I got to tell you, the last day of school, what happens on the last day of school, right? Was it
Nothing.
really worth it? I don't know. I just close
Well,
early.
I bet today the kids must say, make sure I have your cell phone number. Or, well, here's the
Right.
thing. It's like years ago when we went to school, you're not going to see kids for 3 months. Those, unless you're a
Right.
close circle of friends, but
So
you're
in
not
that
going to see.
case, okay.
Today, they cell phones, technology, texting, nothing ends.
Yeah, so the
So
end, right. So it really didn't matter.
plus, let me
Yeah,
ask
I
you,
had a
some
lot
people,
of teachers writing to me. They were pretty upset that they had to go in.
there's still a debate over whether or not we should take summer vacation. This goes back to farm days.
Right,
Where you
right.
had to help bring the harvest in. That's why this break started. Now today, not too many kids harvest.
No,
But they're
really?
harvesting.
What's
But
today?
what are they harvesting?
Yeah, we have a huge gap when it comes to all of this too, compared to other countries. So that'll be interesting to see.
Mhm.
Also, actually, as we're talking about schools, the school year just wrapped up, but Target is saying it's going to hold prices on back to school items to what they were in 2024. So that's interesting. So that means 20 must have school supplies adding up to a total of less than $20. That's pretty good. And then 20% off student and teacher discounts. I'm already getting messages from teachers and education advocates fundraising now this summer for supplies in the fall because they don't want to see teachers have to pay for it out of their own pockets.
Listen,
That's already happened.
Job Lot's got all the supplies anybody could want. I know
Job
it's
lot
not.
is
It's.
amazing.
I know kids want to go to Staples and they want to go to what's the other one? Office Depot.
Yeah.
But a job lot has got stacks of anything you'd want at a discounted price. So I don't
So
know.
get
Hey,
over
by
it.
the way, speaking of stores, did you
Mhm.
see this place in Providence that opened up the Amazon bin store?
So that's an interesting model, huh? And we're one
They're
of a
giving
few
this
states to have it.
they're giving this stuff away.
It starts at one price and then it goes all the way down to $1 and then they close, restock, and it starts again. It
Ev-
feels like Ocean State Job Lot in a way, but it's
It,
fast tracked to go top down.
there are these guys, middlemen, who buy stuff from Amazon in bulk, pallets of anything,
Returns, right?
returns,
Anything's been
overstock,
returned.
anything that came back. And then they take it, they open these stores, and they put the stuff out, and they start like was it a Monday, whatever they start, whatever day
It
one
starts
is,
at
$10.
$10, I
Then it
think,
goes to
right? Yeah.
5, 3, $1. Whatever's left is $1. Then they restock it. The place had lines out the
Did you see
door.
some of that video though? You have to
Yes,
dig through buckets and things like
Admiral
that.
Street.
That's
Maybe I'll go see what it
how much
looks like.
stuff do people really need?
Well,
That's what I
that's
want to
another
know.
thing. What's this?
Right, like
You don't
what
have
it's like
enough
when you go into
stuff.
Ocean State Job Lots. Like you can pick up anything. How much do you really need?
Listen,
That's
those
what
guys,
I cannot deal with clutter. So
Mark,
just
those
look at my
guys,
desk.
those guys at Job Lot, they got the formula because they're
Brilliant.
expanding. They're expanding while other discounters are going out of business.
They're brilliant,
Big
and
lots.
they do a lot for the community too.
Yeah.
They give a lot back too. So this is kind of a spin off of that model, but you go to Ocean State Job Lot, the price is the price. It's low already, but this marking down over a course of days, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no,
Actually, one of the reporters asked, "How do you do it?" And he said, "That's their secret. Their
I'd
motto
like to
is their
well,
secret."
buy
I'm
cheap, sell high.
curious.
Buy cheap, sell high. Although in this case,
Yeah.
the high is still cheap. By the way, since we're on the retail kick, I went to look at the Wayfair store that opened in North
Oh,
Attleboro.
I was curious about that.
I just happened to pass, and I let me go
Okay.
see what this thing is. Not very impressive.
Warehousey, right? Warehousey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to knock it if you like it. I didn't see any tremendous bargains, honestly. Even at half price, I didn't see anything
Really?
that I was going to run and buy.
It's grab and go, right? They're not going to send it to you.
You grab and go, and if you
Okay.
want to do that, go down the street to the Cardi's basement clearance center. His prices are a fraction what they were getting. So comparatively, I don't think the Cardis are worried about. I don't think they're worried about Wayfair.
We've been reporting that it's the first Wayfair store, but I thought they had one up in Boston for a period of time.
It might have been the first one in New England. There's only 6 or 7 of them.
And is this an outlet or it's a straight up store?
It looks like an outlet. It's stuff.
I think it's the first outlet.
Again, it must be their overstock, odd pieces, one chair, one couch, tables. They're huge.
I wonder if it's all return stuff, right?
They're huge on the internet.
Well, yes.
They are huge on the internet. I mean, Wayfair. But this particular store, I went in, I looked around just because I happened to be in that neck of the woods. And
see, this is what people don't know about you, that you love to shop.
Well,
I
like to keep up.
Okay, you like to keep up. If you ever downsize, I just want to say it's going to take a long time to go through that house and figure it out.
If I ever go,
you have a lot of stuff, Gene.
I'm going to go minimalist. I'll go from nothing. Yes. I want nothing in the room. Like
I get that.
Hanging.
Look at Dan Paquette's desk here at Channel 10 and mine. We operate on that mentality. That's why we're so clear-minded, you see, right? Right, Dan? Can you chime in here, please?
Well,
there he is.
Can't have
we
a
have
crowded
the cleanest
desk,
desks. We cannot, Dan.
Yeah, my desk isn't that bad. I have a stack of newspapers.
It's not too bad, except for the pile of papers that are.
I know, but that amuses me. It's a pile of old news, just stacked up because I still buy some newspapers. Hey,
you're on an iPhone, right? You are not on a Droid.
No, I'm on an iPhone.
Okay, what about the Gen Z kids want to go back to BlackBerries? I think that's funny.
Really?
They do.
I have some downstairs.
You kept them?
Yeah, I have a collection of old phones. I think I only had
one. Oh, writing an email on those way back.
Can you imagine that was considered high technology in its day?
Email in the palm of your hands, which, gosh, I was at NBC News at that time. And I remember one of the VPs who I really looked up to, and she was a mentor to me, got one of the first BlackBerries. She's like, watch this. I can get email. I'm like, when's that going to happen for producers, right? And here we are. I had the T-Mobile flip thing way back, and everybody at Fox in Boston was making fun of me because I was like this. And then obviously we've graduated since then, but emails would take forever to execute on those.
I had one in New York, like the year after 9/11. We went back for the anniversary, and I had a Palm Pilot, which was basically the same thing. And you know what? It was
had the
it was so
stylist.
tedious with a stylus. I used a notebook. It was
I know. Now there's no excuse.
Funny story. I was an early adopter of a cell phone. I bought a cell phone. I'm going to say
97.
Earlier than that, 89.
Oh, really?
From Connecticut Telephone, which the company's not even around.
It wasn't wireless.
It was
like in your car with the cord?
Wired into the car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cellular phone. And I thought it was the greatest thing. And people would say, what is this? I said, well, that's a cell phone. That's the latest. It was Connecticut Telephone. You had to pay for the minutes going out when you made a call, and somebody called you, minutes coming in. They charged you both ways. It was a ridiculous phone bill, but I had it. And for the longest time, I couldn't think of a reason to have this other than to call ahead for Chinese food. Like call ahead, said I'll be there to pick it up. Because it's just years ago, you made a phone call when you had to.
Right.
Today, a phone calling people, it's just.
Well, remember, we used to always call our grandparents. We were in California. We'd call them in New York. It was a long distance phone call. Yeah. So we'd set a time on Sunday to make sure everybody was on either end. Because if you were going to call, you wanted everybody to show up, and you didn't want to be on the phone too long because it'd be too expensive. That's all out the window now. Although I just went into my carrier. They're like, "Oh, we can drop your cell phone bill by $100 a month." I'm like, "What? Why?"
Really? Wait a minute.
Out there. I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, I didn't. There's ways to bargain.
I still have a family plan, so I've got 6 people on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Alexandra should be paying for
No, she does. Well, she's
okay.
Supposed to Venmo Diane with her bill. The other one too. Why not? The others.
Come on, Gene.
Yeah, I'm a soft touch.
You are.
Oh, by the way, one more topic. Yes. I've got it since. Did you hear the president today? Did you hear Donald Trump?
So we were talking about this right before we came on about the 7 no words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your take is air it as is, despite what the FCC says.
Well, today the president dropped the F word, and the president said it in response. He said both of these countries, Iran and Israel, they've been at war so long they don't know what the blank they're doing. Now I just said what the blank they're doing. Okay. Here's a debate. I'm going to discuss this on the radio tomorrow with people in the industry. The FCC prohibits radio and TV from using the F word or 6 other words in broadcast.
7 dirty words.
Right. What happens when
according
the president?
To ChatGPT.
What happens when the president of the United States says that? Is that an exception? The president of the United States is saying that with regard to a world conflict that could envelop the rest of the world, and we're bleeping it or we're editing it. This is the discussion. Language changes. Times change, cultures change. We're not going to. We bleeped it because we don't want any trouble.
On the radio, you did, yeah.
On the radio, and we'll have to bleep it. We'll have to bleep it on TV. Dan, do you have it? Dan Paquette, do you have it? Do you have it bleeped?
I don't have. We do have a bleep version of it. Give me a moment, and I can get it for you.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why we didn't air that.
What's your take on that?
So I think it speaks to the tone and the tenor of the president and of the situation.
Which is news.
Yeah, I get that. But then the question is, right, as we deliver the news, aren't we supposed to put it in the right context, which is appropriate for the audience? Or is it is what it is?
What are we, in other words, these rules are old. Okay. The advent of 1920s radio. What are we concerned about in today, 2025?
Well, I think it's part of the story, people, right?
Nobody's heard this word before?
Right, of course.
Oh, my children are with me.
You don't every day.
You don't think they've heard the word before either? They have a phone with everything in the world's on here. God knows what they're looking at.
It's also a president who would use it versus other presidents wouldn't. And I think that's part of the story.
Oh, here's another angle. Go ahead and play that. This is what happened today. We have it bleeped.
Countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Well, we bleeped it, but he can still read his lips. Now
he is mad.
Boy, this is a debate. Should that be allowed to just play as the president said it? Now, the New York Times
Are you losing the context by bleeping it? I mean, you know what he's saying.
I know, but it's one thing to bleep it and hear it. It's another thing to hear it. And
Dan, what do you think? I'm curious. as a news manager?
I see
it's your call, really, right?
I see the value in playing it as it was said. However, you're worried about offending people today. But the word has become so more commonplace, as you said earlier, Gene, compared to how things were when the legislation was crafted around radio stations in the 1920s.
I'm not advocating for
Right.
its usage. My kids have never heard me say it. I've never heard my parents use that. I'm not advocating for it. I've said it in my life. I don't imagine anybody who hasn't said it in their life. So we're not advocating for the usage, but we're talking about in the context of the President of the United States saying it. Should that be presented to the news consuming public? Here's what he said.
I want to hear what Betty Jo says. Have her on tomorrow morning.
I'm having
she ran this newsroom for how long? Long time.
I'm having Michael Harrison on tomorrow. He runs talkers.com.
Yeah.
And he's a radio guy, and this is his area. He's got a site, and I'm going to ask him what he thinks, and he thinks it's fertile discussion. Now, the New York Times has printed it on occasion in the past. This is not the first time the president has used this in a public setting. New York Times printed it, which was wow. You're looking at the word in the New York Times. Oh, it conveys what he.
I mean, it's what
said.
Everybody's talking about this morning is that. In the context of the breaking of the ceasefire. So it's interesting. I mean, his language always is called into question.
He's not the first president to use that word, by the way.
Gene, Scott Allen in the newsroom is bringing up the point of, remember when the president referred to certain countries as the blank hole countries?
Right. Well,
which president? Oh,
this
yes.
president.
And NBC aired it, he said.
NBC aired it. Okay, well, that
Scott,
would be
when was that? Wasn't that long ago.
That would be a violation of the 7 words you can't say. That word is on there.
I believe that was during Trump won, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's easy to beat up on the media, but in the context of let's just have a discussion here. I think
2018, Scott
I think NBC was right to go with that. This is what he said.
I mean, it is what it is, right? It's news. It's an exact quote. It's like when you take pieces out of a quote and say in part. I mean, obviously in TV and radio, you can't air everything. But yeah, it's an interesting debate. But then there's a question about news kind of taking the higher road at the same time. You're going to disagree with that. But it's this idea of putting it in context to appeal to the larger audience and not offend people, as Dan said. That's debatable too. That's debatable too.
You want to have a debate on the media I don't think anybody's accusing us of taking the high road. In fact, Trump laid them all out today. He went after CNN and MSNBC, the networks, and he's got a lot of people who agree with him.
I think it depends on who you watch and why you watch.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I wouldn't put us up as
an
arbiter of taste. People who make their living.
Depends on which journalist.
No. I'm talking about our collective industry.
Okay.
But
he did a great job of tearing that down. So.
I think it ought to be. I think it ought to be just.
I can see both sides like anything else.
That's what he said. So.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see.
It's got us going back and forth today.
It's interesting. Right? I often wonder about that because if somebody said it and we're quoting it, it should be exact. It's like when I was in journalism school, and if somebody misspelled a name, you got an automatic F. That was it. Done. No rewrites. If you can't spell someone's name right, why should I trust anything else in the story? That's like 101. So it's kind of the same sort of context.
Interesting.
If you will. I know. So that's it. That's all I got for you today, Gene.
Before we go, Gene, who was on the radio with you this morning, we have some sound from that interview.
Oh, from Sakarchi?
Speaker Sakarchi, good interview with him. Went for an hour. And
listen, really? Wow.
The budget, he basically said, I said, are you saying the governor set you up, deliberately handed you an underfunded budget and made you do the dirty work of spending more than he asked for? He didn't take the bait on that, but that's basically what he said. There's no appetite to claw back any money from Peter Nerona, and Nerona's going to spend it on the dental care. This is the Barletta settlement money. And he said, I'm not going to go after Nerona. If you want to sue Nerona, go to court over that. He stood by all the budget, the taxes, and he's giving the doctors more money and 2 cents more in the gas tax and more money when you sell your house, the real estate conveyance tax. And and I said, what about all this money for the homeless? We've spent millions and millions of dollars, and they are in the news today asking for donations of water. do you want to audit Crossroads or any of the other homeless agencies? Where is all this money? He didn't seem like there was an appetite for that. He stood by any money that was given to the agencies for the homeless. So, Dan, what have you got to play for us from my clip today?
We have you asking Speaker Sakarchi if he's planning to run for governor.
Oh,
the question of the day.
Yep, last question. Go ahead.
Because you had a good audition here.
There's no news to break. Whatever decision I make will be based on what I think could be effective and good for myself and the people of Rhode Island, and it will not be determined of who else is in the race or what everyone else is doing. This is a very personal decision. It's something that anybody decides what to do. But I'm very happy being Speaker of the House. I enjoy my colleagues in the House. I enjoy the role. I think I'm relatively good at it. Some people will differ, and that's democracy. Everybody has a different opinion. But I got a pretty good gig where I am.
He's a pro at that, huh? That question. 2 weeks. Didn't he tell you in 2 weeks he'll tell you?
Yeah, he's coming on 10 News Conference in 2 weeks. I said, well, when Peter Nerona was on, at least he gave me half an answer. He said, I'm semi-interested. Why don't you give me an answer? And he said, well, maybe we'll see you in 2 weeks. So we'll have to watch.
I think he's running. What do you think?
Everybody I know says he's running.
I mean,
everybody in those circles you talk to,
raising money,
definitely running.
Talking about collaborating on both sides, the House and the Senate. Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Maybe a four-way.
He's a fast speaker, huh?
He got. I had to break in. Let me get back in. All right, But it's always
He's
a good worker.
Popular speaker, though. I mean,
as far as that's a tough role to be very popular.
It's a very tough role. Arguably, it's the most powerful role in the state. So it's interesting. He wants to be governor at the same time. I'm more curious, not so much about Nerona and Sakarchi going after each other, if you will, in a primary, but Helena, like you haven't really seen much of her like you did a year ago.
She's out there. She's laying her foundation. She beat McKee in the primary day of voting. He beat her with early voting and absentee ballots, and now she knows how to play that game better. So she certainly is a formidable candidate. But McKee has already said if he's going to take it to her with the CVS stuff and the opioid crisis, she's going to get that early on. Not like last time, where they came in late with that. She's going to get it early.
She needs a good answer for that because it doesn't look good with the Purdue family and everything. Okay, so before we close, page 6.
Best newspaper.
Best headlines. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez throw lavish foam party on $500 million super yacht ahead of nuptials. And this is while everybody in Venice is basically saying, get out.
I saw that. So the wedding, it's a 3-day extravaganza. Today, Wednesday, Thursday. They're getting married on his yacht, which is more of a ship. It's a mini cruise ship. That's Lauren Sanchez. They had a foam party yesterday.
They had a foam party.
The reception is going to be on an island off of Venice.
Right.
And the Venetians want no part of it unless you're involved in the catering gravy train. Then you're okay with it. Because they're spending millions and millions, but the Italians are protesting it. They don't want him. They don't want her.
They gave to a bunch of charities, I think, to kind of counter all of this.
They're throwing money around.
The assistant mayor's like all in, obviously. So, I love Venice. Oh, amazing. I'm looking at all these pictures now. I hadn't seen these pictures before. Have you?
I saw the foam one yesterday.
Wow.
Do you know they're on the island? Wow. They basically, there was an old abandoned theater that they've reconstructed. And it's going to be like a crystal palace. It's and then the third day, who knows? It's supposed to remember the Indian billionaire, the tycoon Ambani, I believe his name is.
Is he the one whose son just got married?
Yes. That set the record.
$100 million wedding.
That set the record. Apparently, this one could beat him.
So, really?
Yeah.
Wow. And there's 200 guests. You can spend that much money for
200 A-listers.
That's not huge. 200 people.
No.
So.
So, I mean, he could have done Castle Hill. But you want to do Venice? Go ahead, that's your money. Go ahead, spend it.
I can't wait to see the headlines. I love page 6. They have the best headlines. I swear, the Post. Look, Amazon's amazing. He built it. It's his money. He can do what he wants, right?
Look, we got the store over here. Let's go buy some stuff we don't need. $1. The Amazon bin store.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
Wild times, Gene. Wild times.
Look, we just did a whole show. Boom.
They have to shut us up. All right. Well, I hope you stay cool today.
Thank you. You too.
And then I will check in with you later. And by the way, I saw Chef Terranova today. We still have to rebook our lunch. So I will group text you guys on that as well. Okay.
Great. All right.
Say hi to Diane.
You too. Bye-bye.
Ciao for now.